Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today for another Scytec DataXchange webinar. The focus for this morning's webinar is going to be about the year and updates that we had for Scytec DataXchange and what that holds for manufacturers like yourself. Before we begin, there's a few different things I'd like to discuss. First, if you have any questions, there is a little heads up display on the left-hand side of the Zoho meeting HUD. Feel free to type those in, and at the very end of this webinar, I will be answering any questions that may or may not arise. The first thing that I would like to discuss is where you can actually find information pertaining to any of the update releases that we have for Scytec DataXchange. And you can find those out on dxhelp.scytec.com, where if you look over on the left-hand side of the landing page that you see as an image on the right, you will see underlined under the user manual tab, release notes. And under that release notes section, you will find a list of all the added features, changes, and fixes for the individual releases that we have for Scytec DataXchange. And I'd also like to point out this help website for a lot of different reasons. It's very informative for those of you that have any troubleshooting needs. If you look over in that middle category, there is a tab that says tutorials. If you click on that, there is a little search bar that comes up where you can type in anything that you're having trouble with in terms of understanding or its proper use. A little search bar will then populate with whatever we have in terms of supplemental material for FAQs, videos, and help articles. And then over there on that far right third column under roles, depending on what your employment level is at your production facility, we have a breakdown of how Scytec DataXchange machine monitoring can help you out to your specific role. So this next image, I want to show you just kind of what it looks like. Usually at the top, we have the most, the biggest features that are included in any release. And then there's a link in blue next to that where you can find an individual article about how to understand what is being released and how it can be beneficial. And then if you look over on the far right side, you will see a table of contents section that will go through every single release historically that has ever been released for Scytec DataXchange, and will show you the different lists of updated features, etc. Now, what I'd like to discuss here is the direction that DataXchange is going to be moving. We've started this a while ago, but it's going to keep this momentum going. And we have two versions of Scytec DataXchange that are basically one and the same, but one is meant to be a lot more streamlined for more levels of employment, and that is Data Display. Data Display is the browser and mobile reporting tool with all of your favorite charts from Scytec DataXchange, the Windows desktop version, that you can find by going to dx.scytec.com/data display, where you can enter in your account credentials and access your charts that way. Also, you can go to our main Scytec.com website, where if you go over to the far left corner, you will find the Getting Data Exchange tab, where you can access the Data Display launcher from a tab there, and then also the free applications that you can download off of the Google Play and Apple Store are also how you can access Data Display. The reason why we are going to be taking features that were commonly and historically found in the Windows desktop version and putting them inside of Data Display is really for commonality and streamlining the machine monitoring process so that we can basically accommodate all employment levels at your shop floor in the easiest way possible. Now, the first big update that we had this year that I'm going to discuss and then demonstrate are the saved and scheduled charts. And we have an image here is where you can find saved charts inside of data display, as well as an image of the scheduling filter options that once you saved a chart that you need, on a recurring basis, you can have that then sent to you via the scheduled chart options. So before I actually do a demonstration, I'd like to go over just a couple of things in terms of importance and why scheduled charts are important and really what they are for manufacturers like yourself. So saved and scheduled charts are manufacturing charts that can be built inside of Scytec DataXchange and sent to you or other employment groups and user groups inside of Scytec DataXchange on a recurring basis. Scheduled charts can be sent in multiple formats and on any day or time of the week of your choosing. Scheduled charts are a great tool where you can have your shop floors need to know historical data and metrics sent directly to your inbox. So you will know how your shop floor is performing and it will allow you to act accordingly. So let's say, for example, that you get to your job site at 7:30 every morning and you have a production meeting about the day prior at 8. You can have a saved chart scheduled to be sent to you right as you walk in the door at 7:30 to give you about a half hour to prepare so that you walk into that meeting knowing everything that you need to know and that how you can handle any bottlenecks accordingly. And one of the nice things about having this save chart feature is that it saves you the time of having to do repeated filtering for things that you just already know that you need and you don't want to have to keep going through that process. So from here, I'm going to be doing a demonstration of this. We are going to open up our browser. I'm going to access the data display launchpad. And let's say that I want to have a yesterday view of our overall equipment, our OEE. So I'm going to come up here to this chart section and we can see where our OEE chart is. And let's say that I want two very specific machines from two different plants to give me a rundown of their OEE performance for the day prior. If we look up here at the date and time section, I have yesterday selected. From there, I want a 24-hour period. So I'm going to be selecting the day prior with this quick select up here, and that shows me that we will be starting at 12 a.m. the day prior and then ending at midnight that next day. So from here, I can see from our equipment filtering that we have a bunch of available equipment, but I want two very specific pieces of equipment that are selected from two different plants. I have from our Denver plant, I have a Siemens 840D, and then from our Fort Collins plant, I have a Makino machine selected. Now from here, we can show different data points that we would like to be filtered in. So as you are aware with OEE, OEE is availability by performance, by quality. So I have all three of those selected, as well as the overall OEE percentage, and then the target rate that we have set to make sure that our shop floor is running smoothly. So up here in this top right corner, we have the ability to view our chart. And let's look at that here real quick. After it's done populating, you can see down here at the bottom, we have our two machines. We have the 840D, and then next to that, we have the Makino. And we can see all of the data items that we have had filtered to present to us. So over here on the far left, we have our availability, as well as this little blue dot up here for the target percentage that we had set. So our actual availability is higher than the target. Next, we have performance, followed by quality, their corresponding targets that were set. And then finally, we have our overall OEE percentage. So while I'm happy with the way the graph looks, I'm not necessarily happy with the way the machines have been performing. And this is something that can be discussed inside of that meeting. So from here, I'm happy with this is something that with this chart, that this is something that I'm going to want to look at every single morning. We can go back here to our filter icon up here in the top right. Going down to the bottom, we can see our save chart options. So I don't have to keep doing this filtering every day. What I can do here is then save this as OEE yesterday as the chart title. Then we can give it a description for 840 and Makino. And then after that, we can save it down here at the bottom. And I've already previously done this for today's demonstration, but you will see this chart then populate here down at the bottom under the Save Charts tab. And we can see that we have our OEE summary, 2 machines for yesterday. I can click on that. And this will show me the same chart we were looking at before, now ready to go without having to do any of the filtering. So now that I'm happy with this chart, from here I'd like to schedule this chart to myself. And once it's in that Save Chart tab that I just sent you, or just showed you a second ago, we can come up here to the filtering again. We can change anything else around that, maybe we want to switch things up after we've changed our mind. But down here we have our Save Charts and Scheduled Chart options. So what's nice about Save Charts is that there's multiple different ways that you can send these out. Let's just say I wanted to do a one-off where we could copy that chart URL to a clipboard. We could put that inside of an email, and we could send that to the necessary shop floor employment levels that way. Or with the Save Chart options here, we have the ability to define user groups. And inside of Scytec DataXchange, you can have unlimited amount of users and user groups. For the scheduled chart option part of this, the first thing you want to make sure is that the status of this chart is enabled to be sent. And the recipients then, this user would be myself, as I am the logged in user, but we can also choose company groups. And once again, I am going to select all DataXchange users and how often I want this sent out daily. So we are going to select Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That way we can get a glimpse into what happened the prior day in terms of shop floor performance. And then at what time I want to have this, like I mentioned, come to me at 7:30, giving me ample time to prepare for our 8 o'clock meeting. And then down here, we also have the ability to choose the resolution size. So once I hit this save, you will then have the ability to have these sent to you on a recurring basis via email. I'm going to come back to my PowerPoint here. The next thing we are going to discuss is the RTV charts inside of Data Display. Now, for those of you that have used Scytec DataXchange in the past, previously you could only find the RTV real-time viewer inside of the Windows desktop version of Scytec DataXchange. Now, all of the RTV charts that were previously created inside of the Windows desktop version can now be found in the bottom tab of the Data Display Launchpad. And the reason why we did this is that, for operators in a really big facility that are spread out, they might not have what we have over here on the right. And this is what we advocate for manufacturers like yourself with the real-time viewer, is that you have this out on a TV inside of your shop floor so that people can gather around it, kind of like a water cooler, and see what's going on with all the different machines. And then maybe you have management levels that are at different facilities, or maybe they're out of the office, or for people that are at lunch. This is a very good way to get commonality so that you can check up on these things via your phone. Now, the RTV charts, as I mentioned, that you had previously set up in the Windows desktop version can now be found in the bottom tab under RTV, where all of your previously created user charts can now be found there. So I would like to once again show you guys a quick demonstration of this. We are going to go back to Data Display, and let's just go ahead and click here on a timeline chart that I have set up. Now, if you notice, for each of these views, there's a corresponding number above it. And that means that's how many actual views that are inside of this. So like when I clicked on this timeline, we only have one timeline chart. And that shows the historical performance for every single piece of equipment that we have. So a 31i, a Fanuc, we have an 840D, we have Doosan, Haas's, Hardings, Makinos, etc. And you can see on the right-hand column, the corresponding color that you see and the amount of time that it took up was that machine's status. So we can also do things like see an alarm. We can get a different rundown of each alarm that happened, as well as alarm Paretos. And these are all accessible via your phone when they used to be accessible only via the Scytec DataXchange Windows desktop application. So this is very helpful to have something that you can find, right inside of your pocket, so that all employment levels are on the same page. Next, I'm going to discuss the additions to CNC Machine Connect that the year 2023 saw. And for those of you that don't know, CNC Machine Connect is the integration between Scytec DataXchange and Scytec Vericut. And last year in 2022, we saw the initial release of CNC Machine Connect that allowed users to conduct a pre-check. Pre-check is a module that after running a Vericut simulation and before manufacturing a part for the first time, you can verify that the data and parameters used in that simulation match what is on your machine. This prevents any unexpected errors from appearing when you run your part for the first time out on your shop floor. And if pre-check shows that machine parameters and setup details, such as the main NC program, subprogram, tools, length offsets, and more, match what is in Vericut, then it's time to press the cycle start and you're good to go for running that part on the machine. So that was what was released last year inside of Vericut 9.3. This year, with the release of Vericut 9.4, we had the release of a new module inside of CNC Machine Connect, which is a live streaming feature called CNC Machine Monitoring. And CNC Machine Monitoring is a live streaming feature that establishes a connection to CNC machines on the shop floor that allows you to live stream and monitor what your machines are doing in real time within Scytec Vericut. Now, CNC Machine Monitoring continually updates the connected Scytec Vericut session within the CNC machine's access positions, cutting tools in use, active tool and work offsets, and a wealth of information about how the machine is behaving and performing. Now, CNC Machine Monitoring, the live streaming feature inside of CNC Connect, Machine Connect, answers a bunch of questions. And some of the questions that this helps answer out on the shop floor is very obviously, is my machine running? But then also very specific things like which part an NC program or subroutine is currently running, what cutting tool is currently loaded, and what active work offset is loaded. Is the machine running at 100% or has an override been adjusted? If my machine is stopped, what is the reason for that? Is that an E-stop? Is that a program hold an M1 or an M0? And next year, inside of what will hopefully be Vericut 9.5, we are going to be seeing the third leg of this partnership released with a new module called Post-Check. Now, what I'd like to show all of you, or point you all to in the direction is, last July, we had a very long webinar. It's about an hour long with Scytec themselves, as well as their product specialist, Jeff Bagley. He did a demonstration of all this inside of Vericut. You can find this demonstration on our Scytec YouTube. It goes into very high detail about what is included so far into this integration. And we hope you guys check that out all there, because we just do not have the time for that this morning. Next, I'm going to discuss the other updates inside of Scytec DataXchange for this year. And with any update and release that we have for Scytec DataXchange, there's always a smaller number of beneficial updates, such as, and I'm going to go over this here in a second. Last August, we added the Akuma Think protocol as a direct data source, as well as adding more data collection points for machines that utilize FANUC focus. And I mentioned this earlier in our webinar. I would like for you guys to check out the DX Help website for a full list of all the updates and fixes inside of any of the releases that we have historically put out. So we've had some updated protocols, one of which I just mentioned with Akuma Think, but very broadly with MT Connect and OPCUA, as well as Modbus TCP and the Scytec DataXchange Status Relay Controller SRC that I had a webinar about last month. We can connect to just about anything that is out on your guys' shop floor, and then we can pull data off of them for the manufacturing charts and dashboards. And we connect with MT Connect and OPCUA over your guys' network. But we have been adding updated protocols to get the most minute data items that we can pull off of individual machines. Fanic Focus has been a direct data source for a while, but we have been updating them with more data items as well, or I'm sorry, direct data sources. Specifically, last August, we added Akuma Think. Akuma Think was added as a direct data source back in August that delivers certain minute data point items that can be beneficial to your shop floor visualization. And these go way beyond just, is my machine running or not running, or is it in an unknown downtime? With these direct data sources, you can get data items such as with Akuma Think, whether your coolant is currently active, whether the current selective controller mode is, or what that is, information about current program numbers. And this protocol getting added as a direct data source is beneficial to CNC Machine Connect for continuous and on-demand data items. And very soon we are going to be listing every single data item that can be found for these and other updated protocols that you can find on our website soon. They will be in flyer information and web page. And we're going to be updating quite a few protocols coming soon, including the first one that I have underlined. It's basically ready to go. It should be released here soon in our next update that should be coming out here in the next month or so, and that is Heidenhain. We are going to be, to my knowledge, supporting the TNC 7 controls as well as 530 and 640 control types. And then also in the pipeline, we have control protocols for Siemens as well as Mazak, and those will all be coming soon. So finally, if you guys have any questions, it looks like we've had a couple come in so far. I'm going to be answering those. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we will come back inside of Zoho and answer any of those questions that you guys may or may not have. As you can see, there's a Q&A section in here. Please type those in. Looks like we got a couple already. So the first question that a viewer has asked is, how often do you guys see DataXchange update releases? And we try to typically have a DataXchange release about once every quarter. That can be anywhere from every 2.5 months to every 4. But like I said, we try to put out a DataXchange update about quarterly. The next question that I see coming in is, how are DataXchange users made aware of these updates? And there's a number of different ways that we go ahead and do that. If you guys go to our Scytec website, usually about the week before of a product release and update, there's a little banner up on the top of the main landing page with a link that goes over what is included in the update, as well as that help website that I showed you guys earlier with a list of all the feature add-ons as well as fixes. And then finally, I also send out a mass email to all the current registered DataXchange users with a link to that help website where you can find a list of what is included in the update.